views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Perspectives. I want to let you know that, listen, October is National Arts and Humanities Month. This entire month, we've been highlighting various artists and art forms on the show. We continue to recognize and celebrate various artists and art forms right here. And so coming up next, Bronx native, recording artist, Stereo H, joins me right here on the show. That's coming up on this edition of Perspectives with yours truly, Daren Jaime.
What's on your mind?
Let 'em know.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind?
Let 'em know. Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
Make a difference.
What's your perspective?
Express what's in your heart and your mind. Share your perspective.
What's your perspective? Let 'em know.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Perspectives. I am Daren Jaime, and of course, we thank you for watching. You can always check us out here on Perspectives, BronxNet Channel 67, of course, on the web, bronxnet.org, and of course, all the social media platforms. We'd be glad to have you share your perspective. You never know, it just might make it on the show. We might talk about it, or guess what? We might give it to our guests. We'll talk about our guest in the studio today, actually born and raised in the Bronx. At the age of 14, he moves to New Jersey, and yeah, it was during that time that he's exposed to the art of making music by a DJ friend. So what does he do? He sneaks into the DJ studio when he wasn't there using the equipment. He takes the risk, and he takes that risk, and guess what? It pays off, because now, years later, he no longer has to sneak into studios. He's got a new album out. He's here to share that journey with us, and we are glad to have here with us Stereo H.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Good to have you, man.
Good to be here, man. Good to be here.
And so, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for a long time, and this ain't my first time on Open, but it's my first time with you.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Congratulations, brother.
Glad to open it up to you, man.
Absolutely.
So listen, I was laughing because we talked about early on how you just like snuck into studios.
Yeah, man. That was a little crazy because I had moved to Jersey. I wasn't really into rap like that in the Bronx. So when I moved to Jersey, and the friends I was around, my cousins and stuff, they kind of got me into the art of it and the culture of it. And I just fell in love with it then, man. And we snuck into my friend's brother's equipment. He was a DJ, like one of the craziest DJs out at the time. And we used to sneak on his equipment when he wasn't there, man. And got better. I was on the mic. They do little scratches, dance, the whole thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I fell in love with every part of it,
And now you're worldwide doing your thing. And what's that feel like for you starting there and seeing where you are today?
It was crazy. For a while, I didn't believe that it could happen. You know what I mean? For a while, it didn't happen. It took a long time for me to become a professional. But I always say that you have to just stay with your craft and build your craft up. Whatever you do, you have to build your craft. So I was in the field for a long time, just rapping, putting myself in the studio, no deal, no nothing, just putting myself in the studio, grinding it out, and eventually I got a record deal.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're doing this by yourself for a minute, and at some juncture you have to say, listen, this may not work out.
Yeah, man, because everybody wants money, and at first the money ain't gonna be there.
Right.
So what do? You have to find a way to keep the dream alive, you know what I mean, in a positive way, you know what I mean, because the negative route, in my opinion, I don't think that works, you know what I mean, and so you gotta stay positive. You might have to get a little job or something, to keep the dream alive,
Right.
If you want it to be alive.
And how long did you have to do that for?
Well, not too long, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
not too long, you know what I mean. I was blessed, not too long, but it all worked out, you know what I mean? It all worked out.
And so watching DJs, obviously you learned your craft, you worked on your craft yourself, but then you also had other people who,
Right.
you watched and you were able to gain influence from. Who were some of those people?
Oh man, I mean everybody from the R&B dudes, New Edition to Big Daddy Kane, Tretch, Naughty by Nature, Jay-Z, Nas, those guys. I mean everybody, even the ones that was whack, they taught me something, what not to do. So
Right.
it's all love, you know what I mean? MC Hammer, shout out to MC Hammer, no disrespect, but he taught me what not to do, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
So you say what not to do? What's with that?
Well, it comes a time when you have to have integrity in your music, and I'm not saying that I don't think he had the true integrity of the music in it. You know what I mean? I just think he was just trying to make records to make money, like a lot of people. But that's cool. But I just think it has to be from here. You know what I mean? Because if you follow the dollar of it, I don't know if that's gonna really sustain yourself, if that makes
Right.
sense. You know?
At what point did you say, listen, you know what, DJing is what I want to do forever?
Well, I don't really do too much DJing. It's more like rapping and songwriting. But I would say at 14 years old, I knew I wanted to be a part of this no matter what I was doing. You know, whether it was graffiti, I did the dancing, I was a part of it all, you know what I mean? I'm the guy doing the Running Man, little guy in the back in the day doing the Running Man and all that stuff. So I really learned the craft. I learned what my place in music is, and I think I'm gonna become a great songwriter one day.
Right.
I truly believe that.
And so I want to take a quick break, but coming up, we're going to talk about you dropped a digital album this year.
Yes, I
And
did. Yes, sir.
you went forward with that. We want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the digital album and
Yeah.
what you want people to take away from that. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
stay with us. Stereo H is our guest here in the studio. We got more show. Just got to stay with us here on Perspectives.
sir.
Be right back.
I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen,
Double points with every purchase?
cleverly merging promotions,
I love it.
cross-referencing travel sites, and booking all your flights with those.
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh, but now they're like, aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Back here on Perspectives, our guest in the studio, Stereo H, who's making music, has a 2019 release out, and released earlier this year, your digital album, and how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. The creative is out. The album is just about being as creative as possible in this climate. You know, a lot of people are copying everything, and the music is seeming a little stale out there. So what I did, I said, you know what, I'm gonna take it back to the basics and just do a album that has no, what I want to say, no chuck in it. It's all raw. It's like straight from the gut, straight from the heart. And yeah, it's called The Creative. It's out now on all digital platforms. And it's just every song is different. It's not no, oh, this sounds like the same last song I heard on. It's none of that. It's just straight from the hip, man.
Straight from the hip.
Yeah.
And you grew up in the Bronx, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How much of that really plays a part in the music that you bring out?
A lot, man. I'm from Bronx Neck. My family still live there. My grandmother was one of the first residents of Bronx Neck. I got a big family. And growing up, what I really remember about the Bronx back in them days is they would bring out the big speakers and all of that stuff that people are so nostalgic over that we took for granted because we were just little kids running around and just running through. But we loved when they brought out the speakers. We didn't really know what it meant, though. You know what I mean? How significant it was going to turn out. But yeah, I saw all of that, man. And that's what I think makes me want to do and continue to do the traditional aspect of hip hop and not the trap stuff and all of that. No disrespect to that, but what I'm here to do the traditional stuff.
Right. But you had this like artistic evolution, if you will, right?
Definitely.
Because
Definitely.
you grew up in the Bronx, you got all of this in you.
Right.
Then you moved to New Jersey.
Yeah.
And it just starts to all play. It starts to all play out.
Right.
Give me about the evolution.
It's weird like that because, like I said, when I was in New York, I really wasn't into rap like that. You know what I mean? All my friends, of course, was around me. I knew rap about it, but I wasn't in love with it. I wasn't in love with the culture of it. I wasn't into it like that until I got to Jersey, and it's a big hip hop culture in New Jersey, especially the mid '90s and stuff like that. It was big, and they just loved it. They pulling out the tape, reading who did the beats, everything, every little aspect of it. I love that part. And I think, once again, going back to the Bronx is what the Bronx gives me is the traditional aspect of myself, the raw, uncut hip hop, you know what I mean? But, once again, I'm a songwriter, so I can write R&B music, which I do. I can write a love song if given the opportunity. So, that's where I really want to go at the end of my career, like more towards that type of stuff.
Writing and
yeah.
But in this phase of your career, you're making music, but not only are you making music, you're also making other people's lives, have an impact. And so I want you.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. You know what I mean?
I
hope so.
Right, the Bullion Foundation, and you work with kids in school.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
And there's a give back. I mean, I think that you've had some tremendous success, but you also got that give back in.
Yeah. Like I said, we go to different schools throughout the tri-state. It's the Bullion Foundation, and we just try to save music programs. If I got to go out there and put on a free show or bring other acts with me, to get the point across, that's what we do. And it's rewarding for me because I see the kids and I see, they need those programs. If you don't have nothing to do after school, man, and and you're into music, it's a good thing to have. You know what I mean?
How much was that an influence for you? Because we talked about growing up in that artistic evolution, but
I didn't have none of that. It was just me with the pen and the pad every day. My mother would come in my room and see me writing 8 gazillion rhymes on black and white notebook papers, and she didn't know what it was for. Eventually, she found, she figured it out, like, oh, this guy. But I'm pretty sure when she first opened and read some of the stuff that I was writing, I'm pretty sure she was like, he's crazy, you know what I mean? He's nuts. But, it all worked out.
And did she open up the book and be like, get a job, man, just get a job?
We went through that phase, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We went through that phase where she was like, I believe in you, but what if it don't work out? What if boom, boom, boom? And I was too stubborn for that. You know what I mean? I was just like, no.
Are you glad you were stubborn?
Hell yeah. Yeah, man, because I'm a true believer, and you got to follow your heart, follow your dream. That's what we're all here to do. If you don't know what you're here to do, you got to find it, or find someone that can help you find it, because we have a purpose here, every one of us, and if we don't tap into that, I think that's a disservice to God.
Yeah. So, and you're tapping into it?
Tapping into it, brother.
And what's next for you?
What's next? I got a group project coming called Old York, like New York, but Old York. And once again, I'm following the traditional aspect of hip hop. I got 2 other guys with me. Shout out to Moonshine King and Kane Carso. They're part of my label right now, which is King Me Records. And yeah, man, we're gonna drop that project probably in November. We're working on it now, finishing the album up.
What's it about? You talked about the old York,
Old
right?
York,
So,
old
so
York.
what was the
old,
old?
old 42nd Street.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the old 125th Street. You know what I
Right.
mean? Before the everything got kind of cleaned up. And not saying that that's a bad
Gentrification,
thing.
you wanted to say?
Yeah, I wanted to
You
say. I
say
used
that?
it, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
but you know, before things got cleaned up, and not saying that things can't get cleaned up, but just the feel of it. That's what we're trying to bring back. The feel of old New York, not necessarily the
Right,
the
the
messed
time, but
up.
no,
You know.
but there was something about the music then,
Yeah,
right?
that's
and it
what
was
I'm
something,
there.
it was something
Yeah.
about the community then,
Yeah,
right? We
absolutely.
all had a
Absolutely.
great time together.
Absolutely.
We were having fun.
Right, and also when people rapped about drugs in their rhymes back then, it wasn't about the glorification of what, look at me and look at you down here. It was
Right.
more like, look, if I did that, they told that's part of it, but then they told what was gonna happen to you.
Right.
Like the real stuff, like that's waiting for you. And I think nowadays they leave that out. They leave that part out, a lot of rappers.
Well, you hear KRS-One, right? Pop, pop goes my nine, right?
Right,
there
right.
it is. But it was a message behind
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely. It
and-
was never just frivolous, like you said, talking about violence or any of that. No, it always had a message, and I think that's what true hip hop is,
that.
man.
And that's what's planted in you for your music.
Absolutely, you'll always find something in it, a message or something that's going to inspire you. Not saying it's all positive, but because I don't think the world is all positive, but it's definitely a balance in my music.
I like what you say. It's not positive because the world's not positive. If the world's not positive, then I
Yeah,
got to speak about the
right,
stuff that ain't
I
positive
can't chuck it. I can't be like, oh, people will see through that. you know.
Right, right. So what do you want people to see when they see your music?
I want them to know that every day I breathe, it's about hip hop going forward. It's about my people going forward. I'm here to inspire. I'm not here to be like, look at me and look at y'all down here. I'm gonna walk with the people with my music, not just like play this character like I'm above them. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's corny too in hip hop. You know what I mean?
Stereo H, our guest here in the studio. Go get some final thoughts from him,
Yes, sir.
perspectives, see what it is when we return right here, just in a few.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on the sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
Bronx natives and yes, recording artist Stereo H joins us right here on Perspectives. Talk a little bit about his career, his life, and yeah, we're talking about a couple things. You know, really about the impact and where music is today, and music with, you know, music with a message. What advice do you give to that younger generation? Because yeah, it's a different time, and you still want to be relevant, but at the same time, you still want to give some.
Yeah, you don't want to be out here looking like a little kid. You know?
Right, right.
Old man rapping, you know. I would say to them, man, just follow your heart, man. Don't let nobody tell you what kind of music you can or cannot make. Always have integrity with it. That way, when it's done, you can always look back and be proud of yourself. And that's basically it, man. Keep your integrity intact, man.
Yeah.
Don't lose that one.
That's the main thing. Well, listen, I want to take a look at some pictures that we have, and Stereo H out doing his thing. And we're going to take a look at some of the pictures and some of the people that he's had an opportunity to be in front of, and walk us through a little something.
Yeah, that's a performance pic of me in elementary school. Once again, that's part of the Billion Foundation. We gave out free guitars that day.
Free guitars, wow,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it was big. And that's in Teaneck, New Jersey right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kids got free guitars.
Free guitars, some of them. Now that I
Yeah,
couldn't do
yeah.
all of them, but some of them. And yeah.
That's and when you talk about kids having the opportunity, you know, many times art and music are the first things that are cut out of the budget, and even in the after-school programs. I want to go back. No, go back. I was just talking, but we don't have to go back to the last picture. See another familiar face in there.
Right. Oh yeah, that was another performance that I did in Edgewater, New Jersey. I actually had a gourmet pancake factory. That's why I say, just cut me the check. I don't care. I'll perform anywhere.
Right.
But it's funny because I just happened to be performing there, and Ice-T was there with Coco, and she was there, and he came up to me and said, "Good job." I didn't even know he was there. He came up to me and said, "Good job," and I blew my mind. You know, because what's the odds of this guy being in there? And it was dope. It was dope. That was dope.
I guess you never know who watches, who listens,
you never
right?
know who's gonna be there, man. But you give it your best no matter where you're at. You give the same performance whether you're in a pancake factory or the performing for the president. You know what I mean? You got to do the same, give the same performance.
So here you are performing at the pancake factory. Ice-T shows up and then he sees you.
Yeah, and I'm just eating my meal, and he's like, "Good job." I'm like, "Oh wow, this is crazy."
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah. When you talk about people you want to work with, you know, this mic almost fell, but no, you still got it. The main part.
Still got it.
As long as the main part's up here, you good. But talk about people that you want to work with, as you like to work with.
I've worked with a lot of people so far. I'm truly blessed. I've worked with Cool DJ Red Alert, Chuck Chill Out. DJ Ralph McDaniels is a huge supporter of mine. He came to my team and he basically wanted to just work with me. You know, he's seen what I was doing out there, so he's played all the videos and stuff. He's been a great supporter. Shout out to Ralph and Video Music Box. And I worked with a lot of people. Fred the Godson from the Bronx. Shout out to Fred the Godson, the BX. Ron Browse, a lot of people, you know.
Yeah. And when you look back at your career, you say, "Wow, I've worked with a lot of people."
Yeah, a lot of legendary people too, you know. So
what's one of the greatest?
And Mesa Leaks, shout out to Mesa Leaks, multi-Grammy nominated. She was on my not my last project, but a project that I did called Uncrowned King, and she was on that. We did a record called Thank God, so shout out to her too,
Yeah, and with all the people that you've got, of course you got a lot of lessons, right? What's the one that sticks out in your head that's been given to you as a lesson on life, leadership?
Just do what you got to do for yourself, you know? Not being selfish about that, but you got to do what you got to do for yourself before you can help anybody, you know? And, there's a lot of times when I was coming up, a lot of people don't understand this industry, and, you lose a lot of friends. You see, things happening on this journey. But at the end of the day, once again, integrity's intact, and we're going to keep it like that, man.
Right.
You know?
There are a lot of people who say, listen, this is a hobby for me,
right,
but I want it to be a business.
Right.
How do they go from turning that thing from a hobby to a business?
Well, the great part about today's industry is that you don't need a record company. You can your product straight to consumer in your pocket. Now, whether you make $1 million or you make $200 every month off your music, it's still going straight to the consumer, straight up. There's no middleman, you know, and that's great. You know what I mean? I think that's cool. That's the cool part about the music industry nowadays.
Being able to take the middleman out.
Take the middleman out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that middleman,
yeah,
he's a crazy guy.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
He's a crazy guy.
When did it hit you that, wow, this is a business? I mean, you were doing it for fun, for a minute, doing it to practice your game.
The first time I realized it was a business when I went overseas. And I seen how things work and with promoters in Germany, how the shows work and what they should pay you and what per diem is. And I never knew what that was until my boy explained it to me. And I said, oh, this is crazy. And I loved it, man. You know, I still do.
Learn the lesson.
Oh, yeah, learn.
From now on.
Little perks and things that they're supposed to give you that you might not know about, you know, that you deserve, you know. You know, travel, you know, when you got travel places, you know. Little things that you can demand just off the strength of, it doesn't always have to be money, but, you know, it has to be some type of
amenity.
Yeah, for what you're doing.
Right.
You know?
Deserve it. Before we get out of here, what do you want people to know?
I want people to know I got some new projects coming out. Old York will be available in November. Stereo H, Life in Stereo Volume 2 will be available in November. And be on the lookout for me, man. Keep checking out my music, and I'm not gonna let you down.
Hey,
you know?
Stereo H, man, it's been great having you, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
Bruh, great having you. Stereo H, our guest here in studio. Want to let you know, listen, you share your perspective with somebody else because it just might make a difference in somebody else's life. We got a great perspective here on what it is to be in the industry, what it means to be current and relevant, and what to do, what not to do. That's what we do on Perspectives. We bring you the people that just, you know, are making it happen. And Stereo H, our guest, I want to thank him and want to thank you for watching. So until the next time we meet, stay safe, everybody. Share your perspective with somebody else. You never know, it just might make some difference in somebody else's life. Take care. God bless.
What's on your mind?
Let 'em know.
Express what's on your mind. What's on your mind?
Let 'em know. Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.